Some battles are fought in boardrooms, others in courts. But in the quiet suburbs of Willow Creek, the fiercest war was waged at the edge of a driveway over a single trash can. Derek Miles was not a man who sought conflict. A retired teacher, he spent his mornings tending his roses and his evenings sipping tea on the porch. Yet every Monday, like clockwork, he found himself dragged into a battle he hadn't asked for. The moment his trash can sat neatly at the curb, it mysteriously ended up tipped over garbage spilling across his lawn. And every time, it was the same culprit, Karen Whitfield, self-proclaimed enforcer of the HOA. "This can is an eyesore," she declared the first time he caught her, her manicured fingers still gripping the handle. "We have standards here, Derek. It's a trash can," Derek replied evenly. "On trash day. That's what they're for." But Karen didn't care about logic. To her, it was about control. So week after week, she continued her petty crusade, kicking, shoving, or knocking over the can like it was a personal victory. Neighbors whispered, some amused, some horrified, but none brave enough to interfere. Derek, however, was done. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Derek wheeled his can back up the driveway, his face calm, but his mind racing. He had taught generations of students about respect, fairness, and consequences. Now, it was time to teach Karen the same lesson, only she would learn it outside the classroom. The following Monday, Derek placed his trash can at the curb as usual, but this time, it wasn't ordinary. It looked the same: black, square, perfectly standard. Yet hidden within was something Karen could never have anticipated: a motion-activated alarm system, rigged to a pressurized die pack, the kind used by banks to catch thieves. That morning, Karen strutted down the sidewalk like a queen surveying her kingdom. Her eyes landed on Derek's can, and a smirk tugged at her lips. She glanced around, neighbors watching from behind curtains, eager for her next move. With a swift kick, she toppled the can. What happened next was chaos. The alarm screeched like a siren echoing down the street. A burst of blue dye exploded from the can, splattering across Karen's blouse, her hair, her pristine white sneakers. She stumbled back, coughing, eyes wide with shock. The crowd of hidden neighbors burst into laughter, their silence broken at last. Derek stepped calmly from his porch, arms folded. "Funny thing about trash, Karen," he said, his voice carrying across the stunned street. "It tends to come back on the one who makes a mess." Karen sputtered, wiping her face, her arrogance dripping away with the blue stain. You can't do this. I'll call the board." "Go ahead," Derek replied coolly. "Every doorbell camera on this block caught what you did. You harass, you destroy property, and now you've been exposed." Neighbors began to emerge from their homes, no longer afraid. Phones in hand, they recorded Karen's humiliation. For the first time, the power she lauded over them crumbled like ash. The HOA board, under pressure from the very people she once intimidated, had no choice. Within a week, Karen was stripped of her position, her fines overturned, her authority gone. The once feared ruler of the cul-de-sac was now nothing more than a joke. The memory of her dye-stained downfall replayed in whispers and chuckles. Whenever trash day rolled around, as for Derek, his can stood upright, untouched from that day. Forward, on quiet evenings, he would sit on his porch with his tea, smiling faintly as the sun set over Willow Creek, not because he had won, but because justice had finally spoken in the simplest of ways. Sometimes respect isn't taught in classrooms. Sometimes it's taught by a trash can.